Hey guys, it's Jonah here once again. I know, it's been a while and I'm sorry. Well, sorry, not sorry. I've been reasonably busy, drinking a few beers as well and had a funeral, unfortunately. So, yeah, I just haven't been up for doing YouTube. Sorry about that. But I have been drinking beers. And as I always say, if you want to keep up with my exploits while I'm not on the YouTube, Untapped is the way to go. And yeah, my link for Untapped is down below. While you're there, why not think about clicking like to the channel, clicking subscribe, and then you'll never miss um, any more videos. Yeah, flick that bell as well. Um, yeah, because it might not be tomorrow, it might be the next day, or might be a couple of days. Who knows? Anyway, the one we're doing today is another one from the Midlands. Beer 52 box, and we have a look at the Midlands. And this is weird because we're doing a Castle Rock beer, which is here, Nottingham. I don't know if you can see that, Nottingham. Which for me is bang in the middle of the Midlands, but some people don't think it's in the Midlands, which is kind of weird. And for a change, there is, yeah, some article in the magazine written by Robin Gilmore, that sexy beast. And it's talking about a guy who I don't know personally, but he used to be quite up in camera, and then opened his own brewery, which is always good. And then he won loads of awards. Strange how that works, but Castle Rock is pretty good. I have to say they are pretty good. But it helps if you have lots of, how shall we say, contacts in the industry. Anyway, enough of my rubbish. There we go. Castle Rock DDH Pale, which means a double dry hopped pale ale. And it's got Citra hops in. We got lots of oats in there as well as malt. Really, really cool. And if we turn this bad boy around, it's 5%. Dung, dung, dung. You going to focus? There we go. 5% ABV, which is good because 5% is pretty much, yeah, where things get serious, I would say. A lot of people think 6%, but I say 5% is the limit for me. It says juicy and soft pale with masses of Citra dry hop. That would be why it's a double dry hop. Insanely zesty aroma with grapefruit, tropical fruit, flavors in abundance. Like I said, we've got barley. Oh, we got some wheat in there and oats. We got some allergens. We need to avoid the pregnant ladies. And it says, let's have a look. Brewed and canned for Castle Rock by 4Pure, which are in London. So this isn't actually from the Midlands at all, which I have a problem with. I don't mind that people contract brew, and in this case, it's pretty clear that they have contract brewed. Is this a proper Midlands beer? That's my problem, because it has been brewed in London. Yeah, not sure about that. Who knows? Contract brewing is one of those things that is a necessity to the industry. But Castle Rock do have a brewery and they do brew good beer and they don't always contract brew. Maybe they're just doing this because they want it to go out to all the Beer 52 fans and all that kind of stuff. And their brewery isn't big enough. But they had a contract with Waitrose, so they brewed some beer for them. I don't know. I don't know, dear viewer. Let's see if this bad boy is a good beer or not. You might see I've cut my hair. I think I've done that before. I can't remember where I am. And I've got a bit of a tan today because I've been out enjoying the sunshine, which you can do on the weekend. It is allowed. In fact, I went to a beer festival today as well. So this is not my first beer or even my second beer, which was arranged with my good buddy Tony who's well up there in the Dover Deal and Sandwich camera, and he basically arranged this beer festival for a pub which is really cool, the Crown at Fingalsham, really out of the way. It's kind of in between Deal and Sandwich if you go off piste. Um, but I met the owner of the pub, really cool, nice guys, and there was a beer festival on. So, wow, it was a bit crazy because you go in the pub and there was nothing. There was two beers on, and I was like, am I in the right place for the beer festival? Oh no, go out the pub, turn left, turn right, down the road, go in the barn. Go in the barn? What are you talking about? And they've got a big barn round the back, and it was in the barn. So yeah, the pub was open and the barn was open. It was almost like two venues on one site. They had bands on and yeah, all sorts of craziness. Anyway, if I'm speaking rubbish, it's because I've just come back from a beer festival and then I'm going to do a beer review. Um, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do one today, but I haven't done one for such a long time. I knew that you, my dear viewers, demand to have beer, to have beer reviewed. And that's what I'm doing today. Anyway, let's get this bad boy in a glass and we will see what nonsense I can talk about this particular beer. So it's Castle Rock, double dry hopped, pale ale, made in South London, mate. See if I get this right for a change. Right, double dry hopped Castle Rock. There she blows. Pull that back a little bit. And then a cheesy grin. Because I know, dear viewer, that you like my cheesy grins. You like a bit of cheese. I like grinning. So we're both winners in this thing that is life. I'd say that's probably half a finger's head. Lovely, lovely, fluffy white bubbles. And look at the colour. That's really odd. It's murky, cloudy, hazy. But the colour, the hue, hopefully you can see what I'm seeing, but it's kind of almost a peach colour. It's not quite yellow, it's not quite amber, kind of in between, but a bit kind of peachy, which is weird. No peach on the aroma, it's zesty kind of stuff. Grapefruit, basically. A little bit of grassy kind of stuff as well. And apparently, the only hopping in here is Citra, which is weird because Citra for me usually gives me that grassy kind of thing. Is it just Citra? Not sure. On the nose, not 100% sure. It does have that kind of creamy thing going on. And again, we're purely talking about the nose of this beer. So I know it's got wheat. I know it's got oats. It's got two types of oats, torrefied oats and naked oats as well. Um, basically how you're processing the oats, but it's giving it a kind of creamy thing. But like I say, I'm missing to some degree that kind of verdant, kind of green, that kind of hedgerowy thing that I really associate with Citra. It used to be back in the day that I associated it with like grass cuttings, mown grass, especially after or the day after a kind of deluge, that wet grass thing. It reminds me of a Sunday sitting on my grandfather's knee after yeah, he tended to mow the grass on a Sunday, and I'd sweep it all up because we just had an old rotary mower back in those days, back in the very late 70s, early 80s perhaps, like very early, like 80, 81, um, maybe earlier than that because he died when I was quite young, unfortunately. That wasn't the funeral I went to. It was. Don't ask, Stevia. Don't ask. Right. Cheers and beers. Let's get into this bad boy. 5% IBU, ABV. Very cool. It has got an IBU statement on here, I think. Is that IBUs? 15? What is that? Can't quite see, but it's got some sort of thing on there, which is cool. Right, cheers and beers, dear viewer. Let's see what we can get. If you're liking this, please consider subscribing and make sure you click like to the video. At the very least, why don't you do it now while I'm drinking this beer? Oh, been in the fridge for a few days. In fact, this one's been in the fridge for about a week. But I'm getting lovely creaminess, getting the oat. Yeah, it makes everything creamy when you put oats in stuff. Um, I'm not getting that grapefruity thing as much in the mouth. It's weird because when you add lots of oats and wheat, especially, you get that creaminess, and it definitely dulls back the hop kind of profile, the hop burn, perhaps the hoppiness of a beer. It just turns it into hop cream, um, which is kind of on trend at the moment. It really is, and it has been for a few years, 5 years, perhaps even 10 years, with this kind of new style. Um, yeah, but it's just weird, creamy stuff, really. I'm not getting that hedgerow. I'm not getting the essence for me of Citra, and it's purely because they put too much kind of oat and creaminess in there. It's a nice beer, don't get me wrong. I do really enjoy this style. However, pardon me, when you're doing a double dry hopped beer, you want there to be really hop forward, and it's not malt forward either. Really, it's cream forward, hoppy cream. When you think about beer, when you're considering that old adage of the Rhine Hotzgebot, um, you should really have malted barley, I should say, hops, water, and yeast. As soon as you start adding adjuncts in, of which wheat and oats both are, it kind of messes with the beer itself. It messes with the concept of beer. And this is kind of proto beer. That makes sense. Is that the right word? I don't know. But you know what I mean. All the beers are tasting like wheat and oats, and it doesn't really matter what hops you use because it dilutes the actual hops so much that you're tasting beers that are very, very similar. And trust me, dear viewer, I have drunk a lot of beers. On Untapped, I'm getting way up near 2,000 beers, and I know there's people that have drunk a lot more beers than me, and that is very true. But in the last couple of years, I've drunk quite a few beers, um, and I'd say 50% of them have been this style and are very, very similar. So if all your beers taste the same, then, you know, there's nothing new. What the hell? There's always dark beers, of course, but hoppy pales, IPAs, session IPAs, anything with IPAs, anything with pale ale, they really, really merge together unless, dear viewer, it's more of an old school West Coast. Oh, and I've been drinking Citra beers since the 1990s, so that's a long time. There is a tropicalness there. There really is. Tropicalness, the zestiness, the grapefruit, that kind of stuff. Is this all coming from Citra? I don't know. It might be the type of yeast they've used and the interaction, the isomerization of the hops, which is actually quite interesting. But if you're going to do all these new things to beers and make them really interesting, why then do all the new style beers taste the same? Don't know. I'm enjoying it, don't get me wrong. 5% pale ale, lovely, lovely stuff. But I have had a fair few beers in the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years that taste very, very similar to this. And weirdly, for such a beer, not much hoppage. Sorry, hoppage. What am I talking about? There is not much hoppage, but headage. Little line there, little line there. Where's the first line? Is up here somewhere, and it's just a dotted line. Yeah, we can't really do much with head watch on this bad boy. Is this a nice beer? Yes, it is. 5% double dry hopped pale. But is it the best beer in the box? No. And I am, DVR. I know I keep saying I am going to be doing some reviews of the boxes because my next box is coming out within the week. So I need to get some of these reviews of the actual boxes done. I'm waffling now, and you don't want waffle. You want some really good beer reviews. So subscribe to the channel. There will be more beer reviews coming. 100% Unclejona will return. And until then, take care of each other. Take care of yourself too. And remember, drink some beer because it makes you goddamn smarter.